Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Deep Reads. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you, a teenager, were stranded on a deserted island with no adults, no rules, and no rescue in sight? Would you work together to survive, or slowly lose yourself to fear, power, and chaos? Today we're diving into The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, a haunting exploration of how quickly civilization can unravel and how close the beast inside us really is. Stay with us, because this is more than a survival story. It's a psychological mirror, held up to human nature itself. A plane crashes on a deserted island. Amid smoke and debris, a group of British schoolboys awaken to silence. No adults, no guidance, no rules. They are utterly alone. At first, they try to recreate the world they knew. Ralph, charismatic and calm, is elected leader. Piggy, awkward but intelligent, offers logic and reason. They build shelters from palm leaves, they gather food, they light a signal fire, hoping someone, anyone, will come. For a moment, it almost works. There's laughter, friendship, hope, a fragile version of civilization. But fear has a way of spreading. Whispers of a mysterious beast in the jungle begin to take hold. What they can't see, they imagine. What they imagine, they start to believe. The structure begins to crack. Jack, once a choir boy, now wears war paint and carries a spear. He forms a rival tribe, one that worships strength and fear. Hunting becomes their religion. The fire is forgotten, the rules are abandoned. They kill a pig, then dance around its head. They name it the Lord of the Flies. Simon, the quiet visionary, discovers the truth. The beast isn't real. It lives inside them. But when he tries to tell the others, they mistake him for the monster and beat him to death in a frenzy. Later, Piggy is killed too, a boulder crushing both his skull and their last tie to reason. Now, only Ralph remains. Jack's tribe hunts Ralph like prey. He runs through the jungle, desperate, bleeding, terrified. And just when all seems lost, a naval officer appears on the beach. They are rescued. But the boys do not rejoice. Ralph weeps, not for joy, but for the loss of innocence, for the darkness they found in themselves, and for what civilization could not protect. By the time help arrived, they had already become what they once feared. Golding wasn't just telling a survival story. He was asking a brutal question. What are we, really, when the rules are gone? Strip away law, structure, and adult supervision, and what's left? Ralph and Piggy cling to democracy, reason, and to the world they remember. But Jack and his tribe choose something older, something darker, impulse, chaos, dominance. The descent is fast, brutal, inevitable. Maybe there is a beast, one of the boys says. Maybe it's only us. This isn't just fiction. It reflects real psychology. It's called the thin veneer theory, the idea that civilization is only skin deep. Scratch the surface, and the primal animal breaks through. We see it in riots, mob violence, war, even online pylons. When structure vanishes, the beast isn't out there. It's already inside. Jack's rise isn't just violent, it's psychological. He doesn't lead with wisdom or vision. He leads with fear. He exploits the boys' terror of the beast and unites them under fear-based loyalty. The beast is a hunter. We're going to forget the beast, but they don't forget it. They worship it. They obey Jack. Not because he inspires them, but because he promises safety in exchange for obedience. This isn't just fiction, it's history. Across time, from Orwellian regimes to modern populist movements, leaders have gained power by inventing or exaggerating threats. Why? Because fear creates unity. Unity creates blind loyalty. And eventually, reason is the first thing sacrificed. Jack's tribe starts killing for protection, then kills for fun, then kills just because. Because when fear becomes the law, there are no rules left. Piggy is mocked. Despite his intelligence, no one listens. Simon is misunderstood. Despite his insight, he's killed. When societies break down, it's always the vulnerable who suffer first. Which is better, to have rules and agree, or to hunt and kill? This isn't just a story about survival. It's about how fear warps judgment and how power protects the strong by blaming the weak. When a group feels unstable, it often finds someone to blame, someone different, someone quiet, someone easy. Simon becomes the beast, Piggy becomes the nuisance, Ralph becomes the enemy. And we still do this. We blame outsiders when jobs disappear. We mock the quiet kid instead of confronting the bully. We silence the one voice of reason in a room full of rage. We draw lines between us and them, not because they're truly the threat, but because fear always needs a face. In 1971, Stanford psychologist Philip Zimbardo ran a now infamous experiment. He placed students into roles, prisoners and guards. Within days, the guards became cruel. The prisoners broke down. The experiment had to be shut down early. There was no external pressure, no orders, no reward, just role, environment, and power. Like Lord of the Flies, it proved something chilling. Context can create cruelty, and power, without accountability, is always dangerous. Carl Jung believed that every person carries a shadow, the dark, unconscious part of the psyche, the instincts we hide, the thoughts we deny, the urges we fear. Most of the time, we repress it. But in the right conditions, fear, power, anonymity, the shadow comes out. The island didn't turn the boys into monsters. It gave them permission to become what they already were, beneath the surface. Jack became dominance. Roger became violence. Even Ralph, the rational one, was touched by the darkness. Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart. Because in the end, the beast wasn't out there in the jungle. It was inside them all along. Lord of the Flies isn't just a story about boys on an island. It's about what happens when structure disappears, when fear takes root, and when power goes unchecked. It asks, who are you without rules? How far would you go to survive? And is the monster outside or inside? Golding doesn't suggest that civilization will save us. He suggests that it barely contains us, and sometimes it doesn't. The world, that understandable and lawful world, was slipping away. Maybe the scariest part of the story is that it wasn't fiction. It was a mirror.
If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more stories unpacked through a psychological lens, click subscribe and join us for the next chapter of Deep Reads.